is India's biggest dance party. This is the Indigo Hot Mix. My name is Rohit Barker with pop-tastic, smooth grooves, hot promos, dance floor destroyers, summer
Bangalore became a bad word recently when this guy called Barack Obama said we should change the US tax laws so that jobs don't go to Bangalore and stay in Buffalo. Because when you say Bangalore, people get it. That's where all the jobs are.
Bangalore has transformed. It used to be a pensioner's paradise. We've seen the city, shoot up in size. The planning processes never anticipated this kind of growth. It's been a lot of good, it's been a lot of change, it's been a lot of chaos.
It's so ugly. It's a big eyesore. If you are a Bangalorean, you think it's the worst thing that's happening. But if you're coming here to make money, it's a place of opportunity.
Bangalore in southern India is booming. It's one of the world's fastest growing cities, with 1,000 new migrants arriving every day. Rapid change is transforming patterns of work and mixing up cultural identities in an increasingly cosmopolitan city. And it's creating huge traffic and travel problems. For social scientists, Bangalore is a perfect laboratory to try and understand how the movement of people, things, information, ideas and cultures are changing people's lives, for better and for worse.
This is KR Market in Bangalore, and as you can see, it's a seething tumult of humanity. For citizens of a modern mobile world, we've come to expect to be able to move around easily, to be able to buy goods from wherever we choose, and to be able to experience culture, lifestyles, foodstuffs, and people from all over the world. But the big question is, do these changes in technology and communications that facilitate global trade benefit everyone?
Backtracking. The inward movement of migrants to Bangalore has had a long history.
It's the year 1790, and each one of you was a member of Lord Cornwallis's English army. You are currently advancing on Bangalore. The only means of transport was horseback, the only means of communication shouting, and each one of you has got onto a ship in faraway England. You've said goodbye to your families and come all this way to this small little town called Bengaluru to make your future.
Outsiders have long been attracted to the city's excellent climate. But the recent economic boom leading to high levels of inward migration was triggered in the mid-80s by the practice of outsourcing, in which Western companies cut costs by contracting work to businesses in low-wage economies like India.
We owe a little debt to Texas Instruments, which way back in 1984 established the first outsourcing center here. And this allowed the company to take advantage of the 24-hour workday. When the engineers in Texas would go to sleep, the engineers in India would pick up the work. And this, proved a new working arrangement.
Bangalore is now the 4th largest IT centre in the world. Every day, its 500,000 IT employees come to air-conditioned, landscape campus locations such as this one.
This is India's Silicon Valley. It's attracted huge numbers of professional migrants, such as Savneet, a trained lawyer. She clocks in daily at 1:30 p.m. to tie in with her client's 8 a.m. start and rarely gets home before midnight. Savneet is a manager with outsourcing specialist Genesis. Her client is a large UK law firm.
This one is it?
Yes. When houses are bought and sold in certain parts of England, her team handles most of the work.
Hi, Prashant. It is a unique team. For example, Abhishek Mukundan, he's doing the debt recovery for the client, and Prashant is also in the same thing. He's doing the debt recovery for the client's client. And we have David, who's on the switchboard.
Sure, definitely. I'll check. May I take your name?
Okay, and have you informed the client about this?
Yeah. Client is aware of this.
Already aware of
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
Okay.
Again, it looks like this month is a lowballing month.
But international competition is putting Genesis under increasing pressure to continually fine-tune their services just to survive.
The customers are primarily looking at a lot of value adds these days. It keeps us on our toes, and we have to continue to do better and better and improve the quality of work, which will really ensure that they continue to give us the continued work.
At Mindtree, a $330 million business, they're going one stage further by offering a more sophisticated model of outsourced work.
Now we are seeing a trend wherein a lot of strategic work is getting done out of India. That's where Mindtree is really strong at. So the approach that we take is a completely consulting-based approach. So we go to a customer, we discuss their business problems, and then we come up with a solutions.
Mindtree's approach has drawn in new business, but there's a snag. Potential recruits are being deterred by some of the negative consequences of Bangalore's growth.
Of late, I would say that the demand for Bangalore is kind of reducing because of the extensive infrastructure crampling that's happening out here, and hence there are other emerging cities that are coming in. There is no denying in that, because many people are looking at other destinations in India, and it could be even Latin America, or it could be China. So I don't think people now are restricting themselves to a location. It completely depends on the kind of opportunities that the city has to offer.
The high-tech migrants working in Bangalore's outsourcing industries are the lucky ones. There's a much larger group of migrant support workers and labourers trying to survive at a lower economic level, and it's highly competitive.
ಈಗ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಈಗ ನಾವು 1-2 ಅಂಗಡಿ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇ 1ರಿಂದ 10 ಅಂಗಡಿ ಆದರೆ ಈಗ ನಾವು ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಷನ್ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅವಾಗ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ, ಅವರಿಗೂ ಲಾಸು, ನಮಗೂ ಲಾಸು. ಬರೀ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಷನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಡೀತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ.
அவங்களுக்கு வியாபாரம் இல்லைன்னா அவங்களும் கம்மியில் கொடுத்துருவாங்க, அவங்களுக்கும் லாஸ் ஆகும். அந்த ஐட்டம் அனுப்புகிறாங்க இல்லையா ஆசாமி, அவங்களுக்கு லாஸ் ஆகிடும்.
If things are tough for the market traders, they're even worse in the countryside.
There's a lot more that needs to be done in terms of the rural agricultural supply chain infrastructure. Today, a farmer will get 2 rupees for a kilo of tomatoes while it's sold in the market for 8 rupees. There's a huge markup, right? If we can find some way of creating value addition in rural India, ensuring that wastage, which in India is typically 30% after the harvest, then you will see more income being generated in rural India, which will then translate into more facilities in health, education, etc.
Back in the city, there's growing discontent.
ಇವಾಗ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಮಾಡೋರು ತುಂಬ ಜನ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರಮ್ಮ. ಕಳೆಕಾಯಿ ಮಾಡೋರು ಹೂವು ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ತರಕಾರಿ ಮಾರೋರು ಹೂವು ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಸೊಪ್ಪು ಮಾರೋರು ಹೂವು ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಕಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡೋರು ಹೂವು ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನಮಗೆ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರನೇ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಬೆಲೆ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಯಾರು ಒಳಗಡೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲವರು.
The message we get as we walk around the market is that growth is certainly changing Bangalore and the lives of people who live here. But for people who work in this market, more migration simply means more competition.
Social scientists are trying to make sense of the tensions created by rapid economic growth and inward migration.
There is a large influx of laborers, unskilled laborers from outside the state, which creates a lot of trouble because, in India, because although it is states, it is like each country in Europe, because our language is different, our culture is different, With the migration increasing, with the cities growing, with inequality widening, I'm sure that is going to be the reasons for the future conflicts.
ನಮ್ಮ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ, ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಒಗ್ಗಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ, ಈಚೆಯವ್ರು ಬಂದು ನಾವು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ. ಅದೇ ಬೇರೆ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಂಗೋ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಮ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಕಷ್ಟ ಇದ್ರೂ ನಾವು ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಏನು ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ. ಏನಂದರೆ ಜಗಳ ಮಾಡೋರು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯವರು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂದೇ ನಾವು ತಿಳ್ಕೊತೀವಿ.
Yes, there is an amount of begrudging that happens, but it's a noise. It really isn't a groundswell. It isn't a roar yet, and I doubt very much that it will become a roar. There are the daily tensions that exist as a result of migrations of various kinds. But those essentially have been limited to, petty skirmishes.
Professor James believes the economic inequalities underlying these skirmishes are becoming more significant.
We have some studies now which has already conducted in India, which has clearly shown that the tensions or the violence has increased with very divergent demographic changes happening in the country. Those kinds of discontented forces is increasing day by day, which can ultimately lead to violence. You read it almost in a daily way in the newspapers. But policymakers has not really noticed it yet. So they always think it's a law and order issue which has to be sorted out. But these are really giving a lessons for the people that, this can really lead to a larger conflict in the future.
But Professor James still needs to collect more evidence to support his theories.
The policy making of the migration or its impact is always based on a limited empirical evidence. That is one serious problem in India. And secondly, it's also difficult to have any policies, based on one or two studies. You need to really generate a large mass of studies or information on this.
Bangalore's boom has widened the inequalities of wealth and further exacerbated the tensions.
ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸಂಬಳ ಬರಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ 20,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಸಂಬಳ, ನಮ್ಗೆ 2,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಸಂಬಳ. ಏನ್ ನಮ್ದು ಹಣೆ ಬಾರ ನೋಡಿ, ಹೆಂಗ್ ತಿಂದು ಹೆಂಗ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಕಸ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೈತೆ.
ಪೇಪರ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ತಿರ್ಗಾ ಎಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಉದುರ್ತದೆ, ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಕಸ ಜಾತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ.
Some believe the connections between people's lives will force attitudes to change, even amongst the better off. Ravi Chanda is a planner working with the private sector to support Bangalore's renewal.
I think people are increasingly realizing that we do need inclusive growth, not just as a slogan, but it needs to happen, because unless we collectively improve the lot even of the underprivileged, the rich are not going to have a better quality of life. Just to give you an example, with migration, a lot of people, their day servant, the house help that comes in the morning, would typically be a migrant. And she would live in a slum, which will have no water supply. But what if she is standing at 2 o'clock in the morning to collect water in her area? So I need to be concerned about her quality of life. If I care about her coming to my workplace by 6 o'clock, I have to spend some time thinking about what it is to be poor and what needs to be done for that group.
Economic growth and inward migration into the city, coupled with the movement of ideas and technology, is also producing an increasingly vibrant but contested cultural scene.
Back to the Indigo Hot Mix with Ivan and Barker.
Bangalore now has an international radio station, and global retailers increasingly dominate the landscape.
So there are brands like Levi's, Lee. A little further up the road, you probably have got UCB coming up. A little down the road, you've got brands like Jack & Jones that have sprung up right now. There are probably 20 plus restaurants that are now functioning very well on this road alone. You see Vietnamese, you see Japanese, you see Korean, you see Italian. You see a whole lot of cuisines that are suddenly popping up all over the place because people are willing to go out and experiment with the food that they eat. This is probably a small percentage of the population right now, but it's growing.
At one level, Bangalore was always a cosmopolitan city, open to many different cultures, and that has been accentuated. So you have a lot more rock concerts in Bangalore than in any other city in the country, and a cosmopolitan, well-off population that can actually afford that, right? At the same time, you have a burgeoning, sort of local culture which has reasserted itself. And so there is a vibrant cultural scene out here.
The beat is here.
The rhythm is strong.
The bass is blazing.
It's evening now in Bangalore, and in about an hour's time, this restaurant, and many others like it, will be full of diners. Many of those diners will be workers in the new high-tech industries which have recently come to the city. They'll be eating from a menu which includes traditional South Indian food, as well as good old European favourites, including spaghetti carbonara or indeed a mixed grill. Fusion is the byword here, but it's not always possible to reconcile traditional Indian culture with modern Western lifestyles. This might look like a typical clubber's night out, but all is not as it seems. Clubs here close early and dancing is strictly banned, except in a few respectable establishments like this one, with an exclusive licence.
The one area where we have a little bit of a clash is between the demands of nightlife and the government and what it will permit. Bangalore shuts down at 11:30 at night. No drinks are served after 11 p.m. And the IT population, the knowledge economy workers, would love to be able to party on through the night.
It's always been a political soft target. Whenever they want to sort of divert attention from a real problem, make up one. Start issuing statements like, Westernization is evil. What car do you drive? What phone have you got? Where did that come from? What they don't understand is everyone today, with the internet and instant news and instant everything, it's a lot more one world than it ever was.
Vasundhara Das is a famous Bollywood actor and singer. She fuses Indian traditional Hindi and Tamil songs with Western melodies. She performs all over the world, but is based in Bangalore.
It's called Kesariya Balama. Originally a Rajasthani folk song, so it's as generic of that genre as you can possibly get. So basically what we have been trying to do here is collaborate with musicians that come from different backgrounds. It comes very naturally to me that I would want to take my heritage and kind of mix it up and put it out there as an interpretation.
But some don't support Vasundhara's cultural mixing.
You have purists. You have purists in India and you have purists in the West. And it's becoming increasingly difficult for them to figure out what they're purists of, in one sense. These are 5,000-year-old cultures of musical form, which have come down generations, and they have gone through change coming down those generations. Different people from Persia, from China, Portugal, we had all of these people come through, and they brought their cultures in. So it's just the perspective with which you look at it. But still, you do have these purists who are really bitter and who think that this Western influence is killing our Indian culture.
Another significant driver in Bangalore's global music scene is the continual development in digital technology.
We've said it before, we've got to say it again. Our listeners have the best choice in music. Oh, years and years ago, some of our most fun times was actually traveling to London together and just sitting in record stores in Soho in Hard to Find and Plastic Fantastic in just heaps of records, going through thousands and thousands of them every day. Just be able to pick out about 50 or 100 we bring back.
It was all vinyl, it was exclusive, it would only be us playing them. Now music is a democracy. Everybody has access to all the music, so nothing is cool, nothing is new. We used to carry 200 or 300 records, which used to weigh 50 kilos now in one pen drive, and you just stick it in and you play all night. So it's a little weird, but that's how it is.
How I look at Bangalore is essentially as a city of interactions. And there's been a movement of ideas that has been brought in by people and by technology, and the concomitant lifestyles that sort of come with the technology into the city. So essentially it's a result of several ideas moving across the edges and moving across borders and boundaries.
Thank you so much for locking on. Appreciate the company. As always, please never drink and drive. We want to see you right back here next Saturday. Until then, have yourself a great weekend.
The rapid growth of Bangalore has greatly increased the pressure bearing down on the transportation system.
Well, this is one of the fastest growing cities in the world. You need 800 buses a year simply to keep up with population growth in the city. So the level of urbanization is so intense here in Bangalore, and its explosion into the peri-urban areas is so rapid that fundamentally the city has challenges in keeping up with it.
Presently, the city of Bangalore has grown too fast, okay? And even the pollution in the city has become very high. What is alarming is almost 1,000 people are dead in every year.
Ambulance ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದಲ್ಲ. Wear your seatbelt.
Inspector Kavitha is one of the most senior traffic police officers in the city.
Any other human being, you need to follow rules. Exactly correct. But not to use the phone and when I see you put it here. It is for your safety and benefit that we tell you, not for mine.
People try to run over us. Some people reverse and try to kill us. Some people go ahead and try to kill us. Whenever we are trying to correct people, it's a real challenge, especially when we are booking drunk driving cases.
Nobody follows traffic rules. So you have to take this really elaborate test to actually get your license, but once you have your license, you can do away with the rules. Nobody follows traffic rules. And if you do, you'll end up having someone honking behind you.
So, okay, there are 3 people on a bike and they're probably moving in the wrong direction. That's probably a good snapshot of what Bangalore has come down to. The city is not infrastructurally wired to take on this kind of affluence at this point of time. This is MG Road Junction in downtown Bangalore. Above us, we have the new Bangalore Metro, a major multi-million-pound infrastructure project, flagship project for the city. Around us, the traffic is building towards the mayhem of the evening rush hour. This is a fascinating puzzle for social scientists. Which is going to be most important for the future? Is it going to be new infrastructure projects such as the metro, or is it going to be changes in driver behaviour?
There are 2 challenges here. One is what I would call the hard infrastructure in terms of how are our roads planned, our pavements, footpaths, footover bridges, how does the urban transportation network in terms of our metro, buses. I would call that as the hard infrastructure. But I think there's another equally important thing to ensure this place works, which is individual behavior.
The inspector has no doubt where the problem lies.
See, like this, people mindlessly park on the footpath. They are not sensitive to the pedestrians at all.
See, that one's he's turning right, and he's in the left-hand lane.
Correct. See, this is what. Now this is behavior. This is not lack of awareness or anything. It is dangerous not only for him, for other road users also.
We see a lot of people riding without helmets.
Yes.
Do you think that's safe?
The pillion riders, it is not compulsory for a pillion rider to wear a helmet, but the rider must wear a helmet. But I feel if a pillion rider uses a helmet and in case there is a fall, there's an accident, his head will be saved. Because most of the deaths wherein the two-wheelers are involved is because of the head injuries.
So what do you think is mainly to blame? Do you think it's driver behaviour, or do you think it's the road infrastructure itself?
It is mainly the driver's behaviour. At times lack of awareness, at times people are neglecting their rules and regulations.
But others believe that technical improvements to infrastructure could be the key to reducing the conflict on the roads.
There is change. You see roads that are being widened. We have a new international airport in place. We have a new metro, a rail network that's getting established. So these kinds of initiatives are slowly coming into place. The metro, once various lines are in place, will really get a lot of people off the roads. You've seen this in London, in New York, in Paris. We see it in Delhi, and I think we're going to see that in Bangalore as well.
However, the metro is still under construction and many pavements are being dug up to widen the roads.
The Bangalore Metro, if you have seen, it is designed or planned in the phase 1 for 42-kilometer length. So this elevated metro, when it is during construction, lot of properties have been demolished because the roads were very narrow, which has completely disturbed the fabric of the system which existed earlier in the urban environment.
In fact, the metro's construction phase is making the traffic and environmental impact much worse. It's particularly tough on Bangalore's 75,000 registered auto rickshaw drivers.
ट्रैफिक में थोड़ा थोड़ा गुस्सा आता है, पैसेंजर के ऊपर गुस्सा करने से बड़ी कुछ भी होता है। एक एक पैसेंजर अर्जेंट चलो करता है, वैसे आदमी को हम उतार देते हैं गाड़ी से। इतना ट्रैफिक में लेके जाने नहीं होता बोल के। इधर थोड़ा गाड़ी को बचा के चलाना पड़ेगा उतना ही। कार वाला आड़ा टेढ़ा घुस जाता है, स्कूटर वाला आड़ा टेढ़ा घुस जाता है, वो गाड़ी को देख बचा के चलना पड़ेगा उतना ही। उतने ही आइडिया से जाना पड़ेगा इधर ट्रैफिक में। दूसरे का व्हीकल भी आड़ा टेढ़ा घुस जाता है ना, इधर तो उधर से आ जाता है।
Although hopes are pinned on the new metro, some question whether it's an effective use of resources.
Presently, it is only 7 kilometers open for the public, and it has about maybe 6 or 7 stations. And right now, I don't think it is caters to the people who would like to go for the work. It is mainly a sort of a fun system right now. And unless the entire 42-kilometer stretch is ready, we can't really evaluate the impact of metro on our transport system.
Growing affluence also means that an increase in private vehicles is adding to the congestion. One response has been to set up a network of CCTV cameras across central Bangalore.
So what you actually need in many cities who move towards this is control systems and control rooms in which the overall problem, the network, can be visualized together. So, one of the first things that I set out to do is to build visualization systems for the police and for other stakeholders, and created the Bangalore Transport Information System, both as a public information platform for the public and as a management platform for the police and for the bus company and so on and so forth.
But technical solutions alone cannot solve the wide range of problems facing Bangalore. City planners like Ravi Chanda believe more needs to be done to change behaviour.
I really think we need to go into our schools. We need to teach the kids about what it means to be a good citizen on our roads. And they could carry it to their parents. So we need to start doing those kind of things. So I would put my money on working on behavior improvements among the citizens first, while we continue to do the kind of stuff that we need to do on the infrastructure side.
Social scientists are doing their best to find solutions for some of the problems. Dr. James is looking for empirical evidence. Ashwin Mahesh is applying statistical analysis and modelling to the transport system, whilst Rajiv Gowda is applying economic theory and the lessons of history.
Who is taking care of the poor? Are we going to end up seeing more slums in the city because migrant labor starts annexing public and private land and creating shanty towns? If you're looking for evidence, other cities show you what happens. Bombay is an example where it's just, huge tracts of land are under slums.
While we've been here in Bangalore, we've ridden in rickshaws and police cars, met musicians, market traders and IT workers and social scientists. In this city of contrasting mobilities, what's becoming clear is that people have very different expectations of their own futures and that of Bangalore.
There's going to be a huge divide between the social classes in the city. And I don't think I would like to be around to see that. I'd be scared to be part of that.
எப்படி அப்போது இப்போவே அப்படி இருக்குது இன்னும் 10 வருஷம் நான் என்ன ஆகும் உங்களுக்கும் ஒரு யோசனை இருக்குது பர்சனல் லைஃப் எப்படி அப்படிதான் யோசனை பண்ணுறேன்.
Everybody wants Bangalore to move forward. It's a bit of an inconvenience that we're the generation that's suffering this rapid construction and infrastructure building, but we're all not losing sight of the fact that it's going to make Bangalore better for tomorrow.
I think one of the central lessons is how strategic investment in the knowledge economy can really create multiplier effects that were undreamt of. Once we empower our people to turn into entrepreneurs, to turn into self-reliant people, I think the growth rates that we are seeing today are going to be a fraction of what is possible in the decades ahead.